Hi, it's Kylie Koo. Welcome to my studio. So today I'm working on my project for the October challenge for the Facebook group Art and Soul Studio. And for this month we've chosen the theme of fantasy or mythological creature. So you'll see I have a couple of inks there and this little unicorn stamp because I've decided that I'm going to do something related to unicorns. Now, people have maybe heard me say this before, but the unicorn is actually the national animal of Scotland. So I always feel that this means quite a lot to me. I did have plans for a different project, but it's one that's going to take me a little while to work on. And at the moment I'm kind of a bit pressed for time. I'm not getting as much art and craft done as I would normally like to. So I wanted to do something that I knew I could complete in one sitting, whereas the other project I think I'll need to go back and forward to. So I decided that today, one of the things I don't make a lot of is kind of cards, greetings cards. So I thought that today with this stamp I would try and make some cards. So I'm just inking up my unicorn stamp here. These are really nice inks. They've got the three colours. I don't know if you're supposed to use them where you use a stamp across it or if you're just supposed to pull on one colour. I like to try and pull the three colours into the one stamp, and I think with the unicorn that works particularly well. So one of the colours, that one there, is peacock, and the other one that I'm going to use is Twilight. Really, really nice inks. So this first bit, the inking up and then kind of painting some of my background, does take a little while. I'm trying to be quite careful with this, so I will now put it onto double speed. I'll explain what I'm doing as I go through it and just say a bit more about Art and Soul Studio Facebook group. So the Art and Soul Studio Facebook group is a group that I co-host with Diana from the YouTube channel Artfully Yours with Diana. And Diana already has her video up for the October challenge, and she's created a digital painting of an earth goddess. Now, one of the things I want to say about digital painting is sometimes I think people think that if they don't do digital art, then this isn't something that would be of interest to them. I look at it a different way. To me, it doesn't matter what the art is if there's something I can learn from it. And it was really interesting watching Diana's process and listening to what she said about how she created her earth goddess, because actually it's just something done on screen rather than using hard copies of things. So she does use digital collage in it in the same way that I would use collage for one of my mixed media pieces. So if you haven't already, please do go and check out her video and check out the other videos on her channel. And if it's your first time visiting her, then please do let her know that you've come across from my channel. So here I am. I'm just now stamping onto a piece of watercolour paper. So I've done 4 images. I'm going to make 4 cards, all kind of the same. So 2 with the peacock and 2 with the, is it Twilight? Did I say the name of that was? I think it was Twilight. So really nice colours, really nice inks. So I'm taking my heat tool across these just to set them because they are quite, they're a highly pigmented ink and they do take slightly longer to dry than some others I've noticed, so I don't want to smudge them, so giving them a good dry there. So I had to think about whether or not I wanted to kind of colour these in, but actually decided that the only thing I was going to do was to take a red gel pen and colour in the little hearts. I'm going to put these on to a watercolour background, and therefore I thought as the white they would just stand out, and of course unicorns are white anyway, although maybe they do come in other colours. I guess they can come in rainbow colours. So I don't know why, but I don't make a lot of cards, but I really enjoyed making these. It took me a little while to do them, you know, it wasn't a 5-minute job by any means, but I guess it's something that the more you do, the quicker you can do it. And I've been watching my YouTube friend Nikki, also known as Smurfy161, and I'll leave her links below. Nikki makes a lot of cards, and been watching her a lot recently and joining in with her live streams on Saturday evening UK time. And I think just the more I watched Nikki making cards, the more I thought I really want to make some cards, so that's what I'm doing today. So I'm taking this piece of watercolour paper. It's the same type of paper as I used to stamp the unicorns on. In fact, it might even be the same piece. And I'm just taking these pearlised watercolours. Now, I soaked the paper quite well. It's quite a thick paper, very textured. That's what I liked about it. And I really wanted to try and get the colours to blend a bit. I don't want them to all blend into each other. I still want to see the distinction between the colours, but I do want them to be blending where they meet each other. Now, these paints were not terribly expensive. I've had them a while. I always forget the name of them, but I think it's Artist Loft. I have their ordinary set of watercolours, and then, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago I saw these ones in the pearlised, and actually they're more pigmented, I would say, than the basic watercolours. I think they just give a nice effect, and when the light hits them you can just see the kind of pearlised effect a bit. And I used them, I think I used these the other day on my positivity deck card, so I suppose I had them out and thought it'd be nice to use them again. And for me, these sort of colours just went well with that notion of unicorn. I got the paints, these particular paints, from Hobbycraft here in the UK, but I think they are an American brand, so I suspect you will find them in many different shops in the US. So all I'm doing here is just to keep building up the colour, just adding, mainly using kind of blues, pinks, kind of lilac. And you see there where I'm just trying to put some colours on top of the colours that's already there and just blending them in. And I just keep going with this until I get the kind of effect that I want. So as I say, my paper is very wet because I am trying to get it to blend. I'd also sprayed the paint, so a lot of water going down on this. In a sense, the colours are not colours that I would use a lot normally, but now that I've done it, I'm thinking, I really like these, I want to use this more. So I give this a really good dry, just filling in where I see any little gaps, any white poking through. And then I set it off to the side and I start to cut my unicorns out. And I'm going to make each of these more or less the same size, so just cutting them roughly to begin with, and then I will take a little guillotine just to trim them up. So here we are. This is a really handy little guillotine. I got this from Aldi, and I just happened to be in there again yesterday and noticed that they still had some, so I got that a few months ago. And for small things like that, it's really handy rather than pulling out my bigger paper cutter. So I was just showing you the card that I'm using there. The cards are 5" by 7" and they are 250 GSM, which I think is about £180 roughly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a piece of the paper that I watercoloured. I want to make that the background, but I do want to have some of the white card showing, so I'm just trying to work out exactly what I want here. And again, if you've watched my videos before, you'll always hear me say that old adage, measure twice, cut once. And I write down my sizes so that I know what I want. But you see me there just thinking again, is that the size that I want? So I actually ended up adjusting it. So I think I'm making them 3.5. I'll be able to tell you when I see myself cutting this. Back my notes. So I'm cutting these pieces to 3.5 by 5.5. So the card is 5 by 7 and the piece that I'm cutting is 3.5 by 5.5. That's all inches. And I'm just going to round the corner of these. I also rounded the corner of the little pieces that I have the unicorn stamped on. And that should give me roughly a border that's a similar size all the way around. And I'm now just looking at how I'm going to place my unicorns on these. And I've decided that I'm going to punch out a few little stars just from that same paper. And I'm going to add these on. Again, handy little punch, and that just came from Hobbycraft some time ago, but I think they have these kind of things in stock all the time. So just looking at where I might place the stars. I play about a little bit, just trying to get a design that I want. Now I also have these kind of large gemstones. Don't know that they're gemstones, but I don't know how else to describe them. So I got these in one of the craft boxes that I got a long time ago from Craftbox UK. And again, I just thought that the kind of colours of these would go nicely with the unicorn and with the background. So just looking at which colours I want to add in. This is a stage where, you know, I will always play about for a few minutes just trying to get the design the way that I want. Sometimes I will just try and stick things down, but for something like this I want to spend a little bit more time just thinking about it. So I then decide that I'm going to take my ink pad and I'll go round the unicorn with the stamp pad that I stamped it with, and I'll also go around the piece of watercoloured paper with the colour that I stamped the unicorn in. So I do some in the twilight and some here, as you're seeing with the peacock. So once I've got all of those done, I simply use double-sided tape, and I'm going to stick my unicorn to the watercolour paper first. I've also decided that I want to round the corners of the cards. So once I have my unicorn stuck down, I'm then going to take that piece and stick it down. I've also now punched a hole, a star, in the corner of the card. I decided that I'd like to see something on the inside of the card. Just a bit of colour reflecting the colours on the front of the card. So I don't want to make the inside too wet, so I'm mainly here just wetting the paints, and I'll also obviously put some water on my paintbrush. And I want this to have a slightly kind of dreamy effect, a loose border. I'm not looking to make anything that's too precise. I just want to bring those colours over from the front and into the page here, so that any greeting on the inside could sit just above that. And then you can see that through the star that I've stamped. And again I give that a good dry and put it off to the side while I complete the others. So there we have the finished pieces. I've stuck a couple of stars on, I've stuck on the flat gemstone type thing, I've got the colour on the inside, and I've stuck on another couple of the stamps, the stars there. So that's my project, unicorn being my fantasy or mythological creature. Really pleased with the way these turned out. I love that watercolour paper, and I'm glad I put that bit of colour into the inside. Now I'm going to sell a set of these 2 cards in my Etsy store, link below. So I hope you've enjoyed this project. Quite a straightforward one, but a lot of fun. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.